Before you listen to this story, do one thing for me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it. I stopped at a motel during a snowstorm. The clerk knew my name, True Horror Story. I only planned to stay one night. By morning, I understood why no one else was parked there. I was in my early 20s, driving alone through a rural highway during winter. I'd left later than I should have, trying to make it back home before the storm hit, but the snow came down fast. Thick flakes, poor visibility, the kind of weather that makes headlights feel useless. By the time I realized I wasn't going to make it, my hands were tied on the steering wheel and my shoulders ached from tension. That's when I saw the motel sign. One of those old roadside places with flickering letters and a parking lot that looked untouched by time. I pulled in mostly out of relief. The lot was empty. No cars. No footprints. Just snow drifting across cracked asphalt. Inside, the lobby smelled like old heat and dust. The clerk was an older man, quiet, eyes tired but sharp. He barely looked up when I walked in. "I just need a room for the night," I said. He nodded, typed slowly, then slid the key across the counter. "Room 6, he said. Then, without looking at me, he added, "You don't sleep much, do you?" I laughed awkwardly, assuming it was a guess. He didn't smile. The room was clean enough, but wrong in small ways. The curtains were already open. The heater worked, but only on high. The mirror above the sink had a faint crack running through it like a vein. I locked the door, checked it twice. Habit. Outside, the storm swallowed the world. Snow hissed against the window. The parking lot light flickered, casting long, uneven shadows across the wall. That was when I noticed something strange. There were footprints outside my window. Fresh ones. They stopped directly beneath the glass. I told myself they were mine from earlier, even though I knew I'd entered from the front. Still, I shut the curtains and sat on the edge of the bed until my heartbeat slowed. Sometime after midnight, I woke up to the sound of footsteps. Not outside. On the walkway. Slow. Heavy. Stopping near my door. I held my breath, staring at the handle. Nothing happened. Minutes passed. Then the heater clicked off. The room went cold fast. I reached for my phone. No signal. That's when I heard the knock. Soft. Polite. I didn't answer. The knock came again, closer this time. Louder. A voice followed. Calm. Familiar. "Open up. You left your lights on." It was the clerk's voice. I didn't move. The handle turned slightly, then stopped. Footsteps walked away. I didn't sleep again. Around 3 a.m., I checked the window. The footprints were back. More of them now. They circled the room. When I glanced toward the parking lot light, I saw the clerk standing beneath it. His face tilted up toward my window. Eyes locked on mine. He smiled. Then the light went out. The power died. Complete darkness. The door rattled. Once. Twice. A key slid into the lock. I scrambled back, heart pounding. The handle turned. Stopped. Breathing filled the room. Not mine. Close. Right behind me. I ran. I smashed the bathroom window with my elbow. Glass tore my skin. Cold air rushed in. I didn't feel it. I climbed out and ran barefoot into the snow, lungs burning, vision blurring, not stopping until the road appeared. A passing truck stopped. The driver didn't ask questions, just wrapped a blanket around my shoulders and drove me to the nearest town. The police went back with me in the morning. The motel wasn't there. Not abandoned. Not burned. Just gone. No foundation. No sign. Just an empty field covered in untouched snow. No footprints. I still avoid long drives in winter. Because sometimes, when the road gets quiet enough, I wonder how many places only exist when you need them most. I started hearing my name through the walls. It wasn't the house. I thought the noises were just the building settling. Until the walls started using my name. I was in my early 20s, living alone in a cheap apartment I'd taken because I didn't have better options. It was an older building near the edge of town, the kind with thin walls and long hallways that smelled faintly of dust and cleaning chemicals. The rent was low. The neighbors were quiet. Too quiet. During the day, the place felt normal. Sunlight came in through the narrow windows. Cars passed outside. Life happened. At night, everything slowed down. The building made sounds I couldn't explain. Pipes clicking. Floors popping. Distant thuds that echoed longer than they should have. I told myself it was normal. Old places breathe, people say. I slept with the fan on, more for noise than comfort. The first time I heard my name, I was brushing my teeth. It came from inside the wall behind the bathroom mirror. Soft, almost polite. Just one word. My name. I froze, toothpaste dripping into the sink, listening. My heart beat louder than the sound itself. I leaned closer to the wall. Nothing. I laughed it off. Neighbors talking. TV sounds bleeding through. My imagination running wild. That night, I slept badly. It happened again 2 nights later. This time, I was in bed. The fan was on. The lights were off. The room was dark except for the glow of my phone. The sound came from the wall near my headboard. Closer. Clearer. Hey. Then my name. I sat up so fast the blanket slid to the floor. I knocked on the wall. Hard. Hello. I called. Silence. The next morning, I checked the building directory. The unit next to mine was listed as vacant. After that, the sounds didn't stop. They moved. Sometimes they came from the kitchen wall. Sometimes from the hallway. Once, from directly behind my bedroom door. Always at night. Always when the building was quiet. Always my name. I stopped sleeping deeply. I stayed awake until exhaustion forced my eyes shut. I started leaving lights on. The electric bill climbed, but I didn't care. One night, I pressed a glass against the wall, like people do in movies. I heard breathing. Slow. Steady. Listening. A week later, I came home early. The apartment was silent. Too silent. I noticed the vent in the hallway wall was loose. The screws were partially undone. When I touched it, it shifted. Behind it was darkness. And something warm. The breathing stopped the moment I pulled my hand away. That night, I didn't turn the fan on. I wanted to hear it clearly. It started around 2 a.m. The whisper came from everywhere at once. From the walls. From the ceiling. From behind the floorboards. My name. Over and over. Faster. Louder. Then knocking. From inside the walls. Something scraped. Metal against wood. I grabbed my phone. No signal. The knocking stopped. A new sound replaced it. A slow dragging noise. Right behind my bedroom wall. Then a voice, clear and close. You hear us now. I ran. I didn't grab shoes. I didn't lock the door. I ran barefoot down the hallway, past flickering lights, down the stairs, out into the cold night air. I didn't stop until I reached a gas station 2 blocks away. The clerk called the police. They checked the apartment the next morning. They found nothing. No damage. No open vents. No signs of anyone else. But the unit next to mine? It wasn't vacant. It never had been. It just wasn't on the lease. I moved out that week. Didn't argue. Didn't negotiate. Even now, I don't put my bed against shared walls. And sometimes, late at night, when a room gets too quiet, I swear the silence is waiting for me to answer back. I thought leaving the apartment would save me. It followed me. I left that apartment behind. But whatever was inside the walls didn't stay there. I moved in with a friend across town. Different building. Different neighborhood. New walls. For the first few nights, I slept like I hadn't in months. No whispers. No knocking. No sounds calling my name. I told myself it was over. That it had been stress. Sleep deprivation. A bad environment. I wanted to believe that more than anything. But fear doesn't leave all at once. It waits. On the 4th night, I woke up just before dawn. The room was quiet. Still dark. And then I heard it. Not from the walls. From inside the room. A soft exhale. Right beside the bed. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. My body locked up the way it had before, like fear had learned my shape. The sound stopped. I told myself it was my friend shifting in the other room. But the door was closed. And the sound had been too close. After that, small things started happening again. My phone would light up at night without notifications. The fan would shut off on its own. I'd wake up feeling watched. One morning, I found dust disturbed along the base of my bedroom wall. Thin lines. Drag marks. Like something had been moving along it. Slowly. Carefully. I stopped sleeping in that room. I didn't tell my friend everything. I didn't want to sound crazy. But one evening, while we were eating, he asked casually, "Hey, have you been talking in your sleep?" My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, then said, "Last night, I heard you whispering. You kept saying a name. My name. Over and over. I hadn't been asleep. That night, I stayed awake on purpose. Lights on, phone charging, door locked. Around 3 a.m., the sound came back. Not knocking, not whispering, scratching. From inside the wall behind my bed. Slow, methodical, like fingernails testing the surface. Then pressure. The wall bowed slightly, just enough to notice. Then a voice, layered and wrong. "We found you faster this time." The lights went out. My phone screen flickered. The scratching became pounding. The wall cracked. Hairline fractures spreading outward. Something pushed from behind it. I screamed. My friend burst into the room. The moment he turned the light on, everything stopped. The wall was solid again. No cracks. No marks. Just silence. Heavy. Watching. I didn't stay. I packed what I could carry and left before sunrise. I've moved twice since then. Different cities. Different buildings. It doesn't matter. Because now I understand something I didn't before. It was never the apartment. Whatever was in those walls wasn't trapped there. It was learning. Listening. Practicing my name until it didn't need walls anymore. And sometimes, when I'm alone in a room, I feel it waiting for me to finally answer back. If you made it this far, subscribe for more true horror stories like this one. I finally learned what was watching me. I wish I hadn't. True Horror Story, Part 3. Final. I stopped running when I realized something worse than being followed. It wanted me to understand. I tried to live normally. New city. New routine. New name online. But the fear didn't fade. It sharpened. It learned my patterns faster every time I moved. The pauses between incidents grew shorter. The moments of silence felt intentional, like it was waiting for permission. So I did the one thing I swore I never would. I went back. The old apartment building was still there. Same cracked concrete. Same buzzing hallway light. Same smell of dust and damp walls. Different tenants. They didn't know me. They didn't recognize my face. But the walls did. The moment I stepped inside, my chest tightened. The air felt thick, pressing against my ears. I stood in front of my old door. The lock had been replaced, but the wall behind it, unchanged. I told the new tenant I'd lived there before, that I'd lost something. They let me look inside. The bedroom looked smaller than I remembered, or maybe I just felt larger now. I knelt beside the wall where the scratching used to come from. That's when I noticed it. The outlet. It was newer than the others. Slightly crooked. The screws didn't match. I touched it. The wall hummed. I unscrewed the plate. Behind it wasn't wiring. It was hollow. Too hollow. I pressed harder. The drywall gave way. Inside the wall was a space that shouldn't exist, wider than the building allowed. Lined with marks. Handprints. Scratches. Names. Some carved. Some written in faded ink. Mine was there. At the bottom. Fresh. That's when the sound came back. Not from behind the wall. From inside my head. You stayed long enough. The room dimmed. Not dark, just dull. Like the world losing interest. I understood then. It didn't haunt places. It haunted people who stayed quiet. People who doubted themselves. People who let fear rewrite their reality. It learned us by listening. The walls were never hiding it. They were teaching it how to sound human. How to breathe. How to wait. How to speak our names the way we do. It wasn't trapped. It was practicing. I sealed the hole. I left the building. I never went back. But now, wherever I live, I hear it sometimes. Not scratching. Not whispering. Just silence. The kind that feels patient. Because once something learns you well enough, it doesn't need walls anymore. If you made it this far, subscribe for more true horror stories like this one.